We love the idea of growth, but we hate the process of becoming. Today, on Between Thoughts, we are talking about the philosophers who basically looked at life and said, yeah, this is definitely gonna hurt, but that's the point. We're talking about Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Heraclitus, Socrates, and Miyamoto Musashi. Basically, five men who would have absolutely judged our screen time report. So let's begin. Imagine being the emperor of Rome. Power, wealth, respect. Goldie Roger had, just kidding. Power, wealth, respect. And yet he had depression. That was Marcus Aurelius. This man ruled an empire, fought wars, dealt with betrayals, plagues, and politics, and still wrote notes to himself like a tired therapist. His famous quote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." So let's say you are in a relationship and that relationship may fail. You go to the gym but it's out of motivation and motivation fails. And your response, that response belongs only to you. That's stoicism. Not don't feel emotions. No, it means feel everything, but do not let everything control you. Imagine spilling coffee on your shirt. Most people would say, "Damn it, dude, this day is ruined. My ancestors suffered for so many years for this." But Marcus would have said, it is merely coffee. Calm yourself, dramatic peasant. That's wisdom. You are at the airport, flight delayed by 3 hours. A man screams at the staff like they personally invented weather. Another man shrugs, buys coffee, and reads a book. Same problem, different mindset. Marcus would say, the suffering wasn't the delay, it was your resistance to reality. Sometimes life says no. Your peace depends on how gracefully you accept it. Not easy, but it's necessary. Now let's look at Heraclitus. Heraclitus was basically the philosopher of bro, relax, change is normal. His most famous quote, "No man ever steps in the same river twice, because the river changed and so did the man." Beautiful. But also annoying when you're trying to keep your ex from changing. But it's true. Friends change, bodies change, dreams change, bank balances definitely change. Yet we suffer because we expect permanence. We want forever in a world built on seasons. That's like buying ice cream and being angry it melts. Dude, that's the whole point. You met someone after 10 years, you expect the same person. And when you meet that person, he sells crypto, he does breathing exercises, and calls himself spiritually aligned. You think, what happened to Rahul, dude? Heraclitus says, Rahul happened. People change. And sometimes the pain isn't that they changed, is that we didn't. I am an overthinker. And whenever I overthink, I only remember one person, and that's Seneca. Seneca was the king of, bro, calm down. It hasn't even happened yet. His quote, "We suffer more often in our imaginations than in reality." That line alone should be printed on every overthinker's forehead. You send a text, no reply for the next 3 hours. My brain starts saying they hate me, they found someone better, they moved to Iceland, it's over. Reality, they would have just gone to sleep. Congratulations. You emotionally attend a funeral that never happened. Seneca understood anxiety before anxiety had Wi-Fi. Most suffering is fictional. We rehearse disasters like unpaid actors. Before results, we say, I'm finished. My life is over. I'll become a wonderful monk. I'll pray to God 10,000 times just before getting that result. After results, oh, I passed. Exactly. Seneca would have laughed at us. Seneca would have laughed at us. But lovingly. He still laughed. Then there's this person, the greatest, the GOAT, Socrates. He had just one mission: to make people uncomfortable. And honestly, we need that. His famous line is, "The unexamined life is not worth living." Meaning, before giving life advice online, maybe ask if you understand your own life first. It's a wild concept. We live in a world where people with 14 failed relationships give relationship advice. Experience. Socrates would be exhausted. He asked questions. That was his weapon. Not answers, but he asked questions. Why do you want success? Why do you fear being alone? Why do you chase people who clearly belong to God now? Hard questions, necessary questions. Imagine sitting alone, no phone, no music, no distractions, just you. Kind of scary, right? Exactly. Because silence introduces you to yourself. And many people avoid themselves like the unpaid debt. Socrates believed wisdom begins there, not in noise, but in an honest confrontation. Now let's talk about the samurai philosopher, Musashi. This man, he fought over 60 duels and lost not a single one of them. Meanwhile, I lose arguments with my own mother. He wrote this book called The Book of Five Rings and basically said, stop being soft. Politely, but yeah, that's his idea. He says, do nothing which is of no use. Painful, but it's necessary. Because that eliminates 78% of our daily lives. Scrolling, refreshing stories, watching people we don't even like succeed. Musashi believed discipline creates freedom. Not restriction, but freedom. People think discipline is a prison. No. A lack of discipline is a prison. A debt, addiction, regret, excuses, that's prison. Discipline is the key. So let's say you set an alarm in the morning. The alarm rings at 5 a.m. Your future says, get up. Your blanket says, stay. We have history. This is where character is built. Not in speeches, in small battles. Musashi knew that victory is daily. It's quiet. It's uncelebrated. But it's real. What connects all these philosophers? It is very simple. They all understood life is difficult. Not because the universe hates you, because difficulty is the training ground. Marcus says, control yourself. Heraclitus says, accept change. Seneca says, stop inviting suffering. Socrates says, know yourself. Musashi, he says, discipline yourself. It's the same mountain, different path. And we want shortcuts. We want abs and have biryani the same night. We want deep love without vulnerability. We want success without rejection. We want wisdom without silence. Sounds impossible. Sometimes life feels unfair. You work hard, nothing happens. Someone else posts a video of them dancing near a car, millions of views, dude. Yet you sit there questioning your life, your existence. And maybe life isn't asking, can you win quickly? Maybe it's asking, can you continue slowly? That's harder. That's greatness. Consist- Consistency is not sexy. It's repetitive. It's boring. It's quiet. And that's where lives are built. Not in motivation, but in repetition. Maybe the difficult road is in punishment. Maybe it's initiation. Maybe pain is not the enemy. Maybe comfort is. Because comfort can become a beautiful prison. And the philosophers knew this. They weren't teaching us how to avoid life. They were teaching us how to endure it. How to stand in chaos without becoming chaos. How to lose without becoming lost. How to suffer without becoming bitter. How to live without pretending life is easy. Because it isn't. But maybe that's what makes it meaningful. As Marcus would probably say if he had Instagram, stop complaining, drink water, and face your problems. And honestly, that might be the deepest philosophy of all. This is Between Thoughts. And maybe the road you are afraid of is the one that leads you home. So until then, stay thoughtful, stay dangerous, and please stop taking constructive feedback from people who haven't constructed anything. See you in the next episode.